upon a time, on a charming little farm nestled between rolling green hills, there lived a kind-hearted farmer named Old McDonald. He was known far and wide for his exceptional love for animals and his endless enthusiasm for farming life. Every morning, Old MacDonald woke up at the crack of dawn, his cheerful whistling echoing across the fields as he wandered outside to greet his beloved animals. First, he would stop by the chicken coop. "Good morning, Clucky," he'd call out to his favorite hen. Clucky would respond with an enthusiastic cluck-cluck here and a cluck-cluck there. Old MacDonald would chuckle, delighted by the morning chorus. Next, he would stroll over to the big red barn where the cows resided. "How are you today, Bessie?" he'd ask his gentle cow, who always greeted him with a friendly moo-moo here and a moo-moo there. Bessie would flick her ears happily, munching on fresh hay. Then, Old MacDonald would tiptoe to the pigsty where a bunch of playful piglets squealed with joy. With their snouts covered in mud, they would oink-oink here and oink-oink there, all rushing to nuzzle Old MacDonald's hand. As he made his rounds, he visited the sheep pen, where the sheep would bleat their babas, and the ducks at the pond quacked with flappy wings, quack-quack here and quack-quack there. Every corner of the farm was alive with delightful sounds, all harmonizing in a jubilant farm song. Old MacDonald loved every moment spent on his farm, tending to each animal with care and joy. So, every day with a twinkle in his eye and a spring in his step, he would croon his favorite tune, telling the story of his noisy, happy farm to anyone willing to listen. And thus, the days on Old MacDonald's farm were filled with laughter, song, and love for the animals. Each dawn marked a new adventure, filled with opportunities to care for his merry menagerie and the enchanting melodies of farm life.
Once upon a time, in a quiet village nestled between rolling hills and towering trees, there lived an adventurous girl named Lily. She was 8 years old, with twinkling blue eyes and hair as golden as the summer sun. Lily loved exploring the woods behind her house, where she often imagined magical creatures hiding beneath the trees. One evening, as the sky began to blush with the colors of sunset, Lily set out on her usual walk. The air smelled sweet with pine, and the soft breeze whispered secrets only she could hear. But tonight felt different. The woods seemed more alive, more magical. As she wandered deeper, Lily noticed a soft glow shimmering through the trees. Curiosity bubbled inside her, and she followed the light until she reached a small clearing. At the center of the clearing stood an ancient oak tree with leaves that glittered like gold. Suddenly, the air around her filled with laughter, tiny, bell-like giggles. Startled, Lily looked around, and to her amazement, she saw tiny, winged creatures flitting through the air. They were fairies. Their wings sparkled with every color of the rainbow, and their dresses shimmered like stars. "Welcome, Lily," said a voice, as a fairy with lavender wings flew close. "I'm Ivy, and we've been waiting for you." "Waiting for me?" Lily asked, her heart racing with excitement. "Why?" "The enchanted forest needs your help," Ivy explained. "There's a magic crystal deep within the woods that keeps our forest alive and sparkling. But something terrible has happened. The crystal's light is fading, and we can't fix it without a brave human's help." Lily's eyes widened. "What can I do?" Ivy smiled. "You're kind, brave, and you have a pure heart, just what we need. The only way to restore the crystal's magic is to collect 3 enchanted items: the feather of a phoenix, the dewdrop of a moonflower, and the scale of a silver dragon. Will you help us?" Without hesitation, Lily nodded. She wasn't just on a simple walk anymore, she was on a magical quest. Ivy led Lily through a secret path only fairies knew, and soon they reached a grove where a majestic phoenix perched on a branch. Its fiery feathers glowed in the twilight. "Speak kindly to the phoenix, and it will offer you its feather," Ivy whispered. Lily approached the phoenix and bowed politely. "Great phoenix, will you lend me one of your feathers to save the forest?" The phoenix looked into Lily's eyes, then gently plucked a shimmering feather and handed it to her. "May it light your way," it said in a deep, melodic voice. With the feathers safely tucked away, Lily and Ivy continued their journey. Next, they arrived at a glistening pool where moonflowers bloomed beneath the stars. Lily carefully cupped her hands and collected a single glowing dewdrop. It sparkled like liquid moonlight. Finally, they reached the silver dragon's lair. The dragon was enormous, but its eyes were kind. "I know why you've come," it rumbled, and from its silvery scales, it offered one that shone like a mirror. "Use it wisely." With all three items in hand, Lily and Ivy rushed back to the clearing where the crystal sat, its light now barely a flicker. Ivy sprinkled the phoenix feather, the moonflower dewdrop, and the dragon scale over the crystal, and suddenly, a brilliant light burst forth. The entire forest lit up with magic, flowers bloomed, trees sparkled, and the fairies danced joyfully in the air. "You did it, Lily!" Ivy cheered. "The enchanted forest is saved, thanks to you." Lily smiled, feeling warmth in her heart. As the fairies twirled and sang around her, she knew she'd never forget this magical adventure. As the night deepened, Ivy and the fairies escorted Lily back to the edge of the forest. "Thank you," Ivy said. "You're always welcome in the enchanted forest." With one last wave, Lily returned home, her heart full of magic and wonder. She knew that even though the adventure was over for now, the magic of the forest, and the fairies, would always be with her. And that night, as she drifted off to sleep, she dreamt of glittering wings, glowing crystals, and the sparkling fairies of the enchanted forest.
Once upon a time, in a lush and vibrant forest, there lived a wild robot named Robo. He wasn't like any other robot that children knew. With leaves for antennas and wheels made from sturdy acorns, Robo was created by the forest itself. One sunny morning, Robo was rolling along the forest trail, humming a merry tune. His best friends, Squeaky the squirrel and Flappy the bird, were by his side. They had a mission today to find the legendary golden nuts, which were said to grant a wish to those who found them. Robo, Squeaky, and Flappy each had their own talent. Robo could spin his wheels to clear a path, Squeaky had a nose for sniffing out hidden treasure, and Flappy could reach the highest branches to scout ahead. As they ventured deeper into the woods, strange sounds echoed around them. Unfamiliar rustles and whispers filled the air. Their hearts pounded with excitement and a hint of fear. "What do you think that is?" Squeaky chattered nervously. "I don't know," Robo said with a reassuring beep, "but we'll stick together." Just then, a sudden twist in the path revealed an enormous sinkhole blocking their way. "Oh no!" exclaimed Flappy, flapping furiously in surprise. Robo thought quickly. Using his built-in grappling hook, he swung across the sinkhole, and with teamwork, they found a way to pull each other to safety. After hours of exploring, they finally reached the heart of the forest. To their amazement, the majestic golden nuts glowed in the moonlight, perched inside the knothole of a grand old oak tree. "We did it," they squealed in unison. Each friend made a wish. Squeaky wished for endless nuts, Flappy wished for a new nest, and Robo wished for more adventures with his friends. As they headed home beneath the shimmering stars, they realized the true magic wasn't the golden nuts, but the joy of friendship and adventure. And from that day on, Robo, Squeaky, and Flappy had many more adventures filled with laughter and discovery, always knowing that together, they could overcome any challenge. Once upon a time, in a sunny meadow, there lived 3 little pigs. Their names were Percy, Pip, and Polly. One day, they decided it was time to build their own homes. So, they set off on a grand adventure. Percy, the eldest, decided to build his house out of straw. He thought it would be quick and easy. Pip, the middle pig, chose to build his house out of sticks. He thought it would be a bit stronger than straw. Polly, the youngest and wisest, decided to build her house out of bricks. She knew it would take longer, but it would be the strongest of all. As the pigs built their houses, a big bad wolf was watching from the shadows. He was very hungry and loved the taste of juicy little pigs. One day, he decided to pay a visit to the little pigs' new homes. The wolf first went to Percy's house of straw. He huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. Percy ran as fast as his little legs could carry him to Pip's house of sticks. But the wolf was not far behind. At Pip's house, the wolf huffed and he puffed and he blew the stick house down too. Percy and Pip ran as fast as they could to Polly's house of bricks. The wolf chased after them, licking his chops. At Polly's house, the wolf huffed and he puffed, but he couldn't blow the house down. He tried again and again, until he was out of breath. With a cunning smile, the wolf decided to climb down the chimney. But Polly, being the clever pig she was, had a pot of boiling water waiting under the chimney. As the wolf slid down, he fell right into the pot with a yelp. He leaped out, his tail on fire, and ran far away, never to bother the 3 little pigs again. Percy, Pip, and Polly lived happily ever after in Polly's brick house, always remembering to build their homes strong and never underestimating the importance of hard work and clever planning. And they never saw the big bad wolf again.
Once upon a time in the bustling world of Riley's mind, there lived 5 emotions: joy, sadness, fear, disgust, and anger. These emotions were tiny, colorful characters who worked together in the headquarters of Riley's brain to help her navigate through life. Joy, with her bright yellow glow and radiant smile, always wanted to keep Riley happy and cheerful. Sadness, in her blue hue and gentle nature, had a different but equally important role. Fear, a jittery character in purple, kept Riley safe, while disgust, in her green sassiness, protected her from things she found gross. Lastly, anger, with his fiery red temper, helped Riley stand up for herself. One day, Riley's family decided to move to a new city, and this big change threw the emotions into chaos. Joy and sadness accidentally got lost in the vast and intricate labyrinth of Riley's long-term memory, leaving fear, disgust, and anger to run headquarters on their own. Joy and sadness embarked on a daring adventure to return to headquarters. Along their journey, they encountered Riley's forgotten imaginary friend, Bing Bong, who helped them navigate the twists and turns of Riley's mind. They visited incredible places like Imagination Land and Dream Productions, always searching for a way back. Meanwhile, back at headquarters, fear, disgust, and anger struggled to keep Riley functioning without Joy's optimism and sadness understanding. Riley started to feel confused and distant from her parents because her emotions were out of balance. As joy and sadness traveled together, they learned that all emotions were necessary and had their unique roles in making Riley who she was. Joy discovered that sadness often helped Riley express her true feelings, and that made her feel better. Finally, after many adventures and lessons, Joy and Sadness found their way back to headquarters. Once upon a time in a cozy little town lived a clever squirrel named Sammy. Sammy wasn't just any squirrel. He was the town's best cookie thief. His tiny treehouse was filled with cookie jars of all shapes and sizes, each containing treats he had sneaked from the humans. Everyone knew Sammy had a sweet tooth, but no one could ever catch him in the act. One sunny morning, Sammy heard exciting news. Mrs. Honeywood, the kindliest baker in town, had created a new kind of cookie, the ultimate chocolate chip sprinkled delight. Sammy's eyes sparkled with mischief. He just had to have it. But this time, Mrs. Honeywood was prepared. She had set up a series of clever traps around her bakery, knowing Sammy would come. As Sammy approached the bakery, he noticed the shiny sprinkles and the mouth-watering aroma wafting through the air. Cautiously, he tiptoed toward the cookie jar on the windowsill. Suddenly, snap! A net fell from above, trapping Sammy. He squirmed and wiggled but couldn't get loose. Just then, Mrs. Honeywood appeared, smiling gently. "Caught you at last, Sammy," she giggled. Sammy looked up with his big, pleading eyes. I just wanted to taste that amazing new cookie, Mrs. Honeywood," he stammered. To his surprise, Mrs. Honeywood reached into the jar and handed him a cookie. "Here you go, Sammy. All you had to do was ask." Sammy took a nibble and his tail flicked with joy. From that day on, Sammy didn't need to steal cookies anymore. Mrs. Honeywood made sure that every week, a fresh batch of cookies was waiting on the windowsill just for him. And in return, Sammy helped her around the bakery, becoming the town's sweetest helper. The end.
Far beneath the sparkling waves of the great ocean, there lived Princess Ariel, a curious and adventurous mermaid. Ariel loved to explore the hidden corners of her underwater kingdom. She was always eager to discover new things alongside her best friends, Flounder the fish and Sebastian the crab. One day, Ariel heard a mysterious, beautiful melody floating through the water. It was unlike anything she had ever heard. Intrigued, she made up her mind to find the source of this enchanting sound. With Flounder and Sebastian by her side, Ariel swam through colorful coral reefs, past schools of glittering fish, and into the deep, dark parts of the ocean where few dared to go. The melody grew louder and sweeter with each flick of her tail. Eventually, Ariel and her friends stumbled upon a giant shipwreck covered in seaweed and barnacles. As they drew closer, the melody became clear. It was coming from an ancient, enchanted shell lying among the wreckage. The shell shimmered with a magical light, and sang the most beautiful song. Ariel picked it up with awe in her eyes. Sebastian warned her to be cautious, but Ariel couldn't resist the shell's charm. She brought it back to her sea castle, placing it on a shelf in her room. That night, as Ariel drifted off to sleep, the shell's melody filled the castle. But this time, it wasn't just a sweet tune, it was a song with words, whispering secrets of hidden treasures and ancient magic. Once upon a time in the magical land of Colorville, there lived a curious chameleon named Chippy. Chippy was unlike any other chameleon because he loved colors, but couldn't change his own color. Instead, he could only turn shades of gray. Even though he was happy, he always dreamed of being as colorful as his friends. One bright morning, Chippy heard of a legend that told of a mystical rainbow hidden deep in the enchanted forest. The legend said that anyone who found the rainbow would be granted a wish. Chippy, determined to find the rainbow, packed his tiny backpack and set off on the adventure of a lifetime. Along the way, Chippy met many friends. There was Benny the bluebird, who offered to be his guide, and Sally the squirrel, who knew all the best tree climbing tricks. Together, they ventured deeper into the forest, facing challenges and solving puzzles. They had to cross a rickety bridge, solve the Sphinx's riddle, and navigate through a maze of tall grass. Finally, after what felt like days, they found a sparkle in the distance. It was the rainbow. With excitement bubbling in his heart, Chippy approached the glowing arc. As he got closer, the rainbow began to shimmer and dance. The colors seemed to come alive, welcoming Chippy and his friends. In awe, Chippy made his wish. "I wish I could change colors like all my friends." Suddenly, the rainbow's colors swirled around him, and Chippy felt a warm glow. Opening his eyes, he realized he was now shimmering in all the vibrant colors of the rainbow. Chippy was overjoyed and thanked his friends for their help. Together, they returned to Colorville, where Chippy proudly displayed his new colors. Everyone in the town cheered and celebrated Chippy's transformation. From that day on, Chippy used his newfound ability to bring more joy and color to Colorville.